So if you are in the Go High Level community and you've never had a client pay you $1,000 or more per month for a digital marketing service that you provide, this video is for you because I'm going to share with you exactly how to get clients that are willing to pay you $1,000 or more per month for productized services that you can sell and fulfill using Go High Level. Now, the way that I can actually explain this to you is because this is what I actually do. I've never worked a job. I've never had a boss. I've never had to, clock in and clock out and, go into some sort of office. So I've essentially mastered being able to provide digital marketing services to local businesses and get them to pay me $1,000 or more per month. And when I say mastered, I don't want you to think that I think, I've reached the top of the mountaintop and that, I have nothing to learn. But from a kid who had really no sort of trajectory or qualifications to be able to do this, I have now figured out a science to actually doing this successfully. And I've done it so well that I've been able to fully support myself for the past 8 years doing exactly what I'm going to say and still doing it to this day. In addition to that, if you're in the Go High Level community and you're kind of trying to figure this stuff out, what you should offer, how much you should charge, you may be going between if you should charge a higher ticket service like $1,000 or $2,000 per more or per month or more, or if you should charge a lower ticket price like $150 or $300, right, or $500. And there's different people that make content about different things that they're doing, and so sometimes that can be confusing. And my goal in this particular video isn't to convince you what particularly you should do, but just to give you a perspective on what I do, what I've done, and also the difference between having a $300 per month software offer, which I do have, and a higher ticket done for you offer that is productized and also doesn't require a team or you to constantly be putting out fires or run ads to get clients. And so I want to give you a contrast too, just so you understand if this is something you want to do, what the difference is between the SaaS type of an offer as well as getting someone to pay you for a higher ticket service. And they also can work together as well, okay? But when you're starting and you're really wanting to do this successfully, you need to start simple, okay? So the first kind of point here that I want to make before I break down what you actually need to do to make this a reality is that when I actually got into providing these types of services, for me, anytime I got a client that was paying me $1,000 or more per month, I basically thought that it was magic. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, what I was offering. Like, I basically just, if you were to ask me back then, I just would have said, well, because they need this service and, they're willing to pay for it. But I didn't really clearly understand things the way that I do now and really solving a problem. And so what I want you to understand is that sometimes when you're in that space of, attempting to figure out what to offer or how much you should charge, you don't even think that this type of money is out there because you may just have a scarcity mindset. You may not really clearly understand the value of solving these problems. And so for you, $1,000 a month may just sound high, right? And then maybe you're hearing stories of people saying that you should charge a low ticket amount. And you just hear all these different things. And I've done both and I do both. And so I can really give you some contrast on, how this stuff works, right? But the first key point here is that this is not magic to get somebody to actually pay you $1,000 or more per month. There is an actual science and there is an actual methodology that, if done correctly, can net you clients that pay you this much. And eventually you'll do it so many times it will no longer be magic, okay? And how do I actually know this? Well, one, I still do this. I say the same thing to the same type of people, and they basically buy the same offer, right? But I want to share with you this story of what happened to me. This was in about 2018, and at this point, I had already dropped out of school for about 1.5 years, and I was basically just saying yes to whatever type of service somebody needed. We did videos, we did photography, we would post on people's Instagram, we would go do vlogs for people, I would boost Facebook posts. We were just doing everything, right? And so I was already making an income from providing different types of services, but there was no clear path to getting customers. There was no repeatable offer that I could actually sell. It was just basically freelance work, really. That was all I could describe it as, right? And so I ended up going to Ty Lopez's house back in 2018, and I'm sitting there at the table, and I'm talking to this guy, and he's just telling me what he's doing, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you're running ads for these I'll change the business just in case somebody somehow pieces things together. But he's like, oh, I'm running ads for chiropractors, right? And I was like, oh, really? And I'm like, so like, what does that look like? Like, what do you charge, and like, why do they pay you for that, right? And what results do they get? And he's like, dude, it's crazy. He's like, they pay me $1,500 a month, and I pay this guy on Upwork like $500 a month, and he just does everything for me. Like, he builds the landing pages, and he runs the ads, and he talks to the client and everything. And I just like get customers, talk to them on the phone, sell them, and then that's it. And I was like, in my mind, I had no idea how this guy was doing it, because I felt like I was providing an insanely custom product for these video clients, and we were going kind of to the end of the earth to get these photos on their social media. We're driving in person, we're vlogging everything, and we're barely making $6,000, $7,000 a month, and it's all in person, right? And then this guy's telling me he's charging $1,500 a month to run these ads. It doesn't take him much time, and then somebody's just doing all the work for him. And I'll literally never forget this. It kind of sounds like I'm making it up, but I was like, how many of those people do you have? And he was like, he's like, 25 of those like clients that I have. And I remember I went, I don't know where my phone is, but oh, here it is. And I was like, 25, and I just like, I kind of froze. And I remember I went, like when we were breaking for lunch, I like pulled out my calculator, and I knew it was obviously more than 25,000, but I was like, 25 times 1,500, and it was $37,000. And I, like, when I was talking to this person, I just didn't get the sense that they were like smarter than me, or like had some genius product or genius operation, or like the most amazing person running their ads. It was just like, it almost seemed like he knew less than me, and because he knew less than me, he was more successful financially. And I left that mastermind at the house, and I'm like, dude, like I gotta figure this out, right? And so this started the journey of me actually getting to where I am to this day, which is getting people to pay you $1,000 or more per month with a productized service that's easier to deliver. You don't have to go in person, and it delivers a lot of value. And with the technology that we have now, versus what was available then, I mean, you can run this with just one person, and if you still want someone to help you, you can do that as well. But this stuff is even easier to offer and fulfill now. So easy that I even have, like I said, a percentage of customers that do the work themselves through the software, right? So there are people that are, oops, my computer froze. There are people that are far less capable than you, which is what I learned. They're less knowledgeable than you, and they're making 5 to 10 times what you're making, because they're taking action on the 20% that actually makes them money. So what I want to share with you is give you kind of the behind the scenes, behind the curtain of what I had to learn, right, through trial and error, right, and what you can just skip the line and learn and start getting success with now. Because there are key things to do, and there are key things to not do that really don't matter much, okay? And hopefully if you watch this video and actually use it, you will see them for yourself, because you're going to be like, wait, I'm not even doing all the work I was doing before, and I'm making more, and it feels essentially like you're cheating the system because you just understand how things work. So these are, you hear secrets and stuff like that. These are secrets, what I'm going to share with you, like actual levers you can pull that change how much input you have to put in for output. So the people that understand what I'm going to share in this video, right, that maybe they're making content you're watching, or just are doing well with their business, they're not watching content like this content, right, where they're chasing the new idea, right? They're probably watching content, but it's either paid content, or it's content that maybe is being done in a way where it's not about a new trend or a new feature or a new this and a new that, because that content essentially just creates confusion, and people are incentivized to make content and provide information, but that's not really, if you're a viewer and this is what you want, an end result, you want to make 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month, whatever it is, through this type of a service or system, the creator of the content isn't necessarily optimized, right, around the same goal. That they're not optimizing for the same goal that you have, right? Their goal may be to grow their channel, or get sales from their product or courses, right? And so sometimes the content that's made isn't actually optimized for like, hey, we want the same exact thing, And that can create confusion and like, what the heck do you actually do, right? So people that understand this, they're not just chasing content, chasing new people, chasing new ideas, because that's not what matters, okay? They're also not chasing the next trend, right, of a new feature or a new thing to add or a new thing that, is going to hack them to the next level. When you really understand how this stuff works, it boils down to, being great to your actual customers and clients, right? Getting them results and having a streamlined way to deliver the solution, being crystal clear about who the offer is for, right? And doing the fundamentals really, really well, right? Maybe there's things when you get to a certain level, you got to really, there's some new secret thing to do, right? But where I'm talking about, which is getting 5 people, 10 people, 20 people to pay you this much or more per month, you don't need some hack, okay? You don't even need some, automated thing that's going to scrape emails and all this stuff. Like, you can do all this stuff with, by hand, right? And and some effort and consistency, okay? And they're also not adding things as well. Like, this is the opposite of basically what I do, which is add things. Like, because there's always new things to add. I could add this new tool. I could add this new strategy. I could add this new channel to try to get traffic. I could add this new, offer, right? All these things really just start to widen the scope of what you have to do and think about, and they just take away from your ability to go up, right? And just start stacking up. What the people that understand these things I'm going to share with you do is they're focusing on elimination. Like, what do I have in my space, in my mind, in my business, in the offer, and all these aspects of the business that are just not efficient, right? Could it be maybe I have too many offers out? Maybe I'm saying a bunch of different things to different, people, because I'm trying to figure out what's working, and that's confusing me because I'm getting mixed feedback, right? There's a lot of things we could talk about when it comes to elimination, right? And sometimes you have phases where you're bulking up and you're trying to basically figure stuff out, but when you really understand this stuff, you keep an eye on the elimination, because you can lose your signal very quickly if you start adding enough stuff. It's pretty easy, actually. Just try it for yourself. Try, making a list of things to do per day and fill the list with like 100 things to do, and just watch how quickly you break down, right? So they understand mastering the fundamentals. Like I said, who is your actual customer, right? What's your offer? I could go on and on, but just mastering those things. And then keeping a pulse on the signals that their business provides them. So this could be feedback from customers. This could be customers canceling. This could be customers not signing up anymore. This could be consistent questions or things people asking, them, or customer support, right? There's a lot, right? And then there's also noise as well, right? Customers can give you noise. You can get noise from watching too many videos, things like that, right? So when you really dial this stuff in, you're not watching content, you're not looking for the next trend, you're not adding a bunch of stuff, you're removing things, you're optimizing these core fundamentals, and you're keeping a pulse on what actually matters and what's going to move everything forward and get you paid, okay? So number one here, for getting into how do we actually do this? How do we get people to pay us $1,000 or more per month? The first component is we have to identify who we are serving, okay? Everything comes to life when you know exactly who you're solving a problem for. If you have 10 different types of people with 10 different businesses, sure, there will be crossover of different problems they have that could be kind of universal. But if you want your messaging to be punchy, if you want to know how to get prospects for your business, if you want to know how to market, what content to create, all these types of things, we have to start with the who, okay? And the other layer of this is we need to know who, right? But that person, right, that we're looking for, they need to have money to pay $1,000 or more per month. They need to have some sort of urgent need to actually solve the problem. And these problems that they need help solving need to be big and get them paid, either 10 to 15x what you're basically going to charge per month. So you can take a look here this is a live case study from one of my clients, and I can show you firsthand how powerful what I'm saying is when it comes to finding the who that has enough income to actually pay for the service, right? Pay for the actual complete solution to the problem, needs a big problem solved, and that when they solve it, they get paid a lot as well, right? And one of the ways to actually think about everything I'm going to go through is just think of the opposite. So if you want to get people to pay you $1,000 a month, $1,000 or more per month, here's what you don't do. Find people that have no money. Find people that don't have any problem that needs to be solved anytime soon. Find people that solve really small problems, like insignificant, meaningless problems, right? And then when they do solve those problems, they basically don't even get paid. That's exactly what not to do, to find people to pay you $1,000 or more per month. And you can do this for everything that I'm going to share in this list. So here's a real life actual example of what I'm going to share with you. So this is a client who paid for my service, and you can hear what he says.
It's been a lot, but one stands out. It was actually last year. I purchased a house in a city that had very few comps, so I didn't really know what it was worth. I knew I got a good deal on it, but I had no idea what I was going to make on it. So I ended up purchasing that deal for $618,000. Put about $200,000 into the rehab. It was a pretty high-end area. I ended up selling that property for $1.28 million, making me about $400,000 in profit. That was by far my best flip project. I've done a handful of deals that are around 6 figures, $100,000 profit, but that one was by far the best so far.
Okay, so you guys can see that's just one client that I've worked with and essentially one problem I solved for them. I've helped that particular client do that 30 times or more, not make $400,000 per flip, but I've helped that client. What that client does and what I do is I help people like him find these off-market properties. So if you've ever driven around your neighborhood and you see people, fixing up like an older home, they'll buy that home at a discount and then remodel it and make, a few $100,000, right? And so if you take a look at what I said, right, if I go to a client like that and I say, hey, for $1,000 per month, right, I'm going to help you find these types of properties that you're looking for. Would that be worth it? And they're like, in their head, just to fix up the property that they're going to later sell, they're going to spend $50,000, $100,000 just to fix it up. And here I am saying, hey, I can find you these that are going to net you, big profits, and I'm only charging $1,000, right? So this is key. You have to have niches that actually have the income to afford what you're doing. They need to solve the problem, and these are big, high-ticket problems so that when he actually solves the problem, right, and helps the homeowner sell the house for whatever the reason they have, he's going to make a big, big-ticket item from it as well. So that's what you need to know for number one. Now, the second component is you have to position yourself as a specialist, not a generalist. And when I say this, you want to go 2, 3, 4 levels deep on how specific you are with the problem you solve, because 8 years ago, I could have said I run ads and help businesses get leads, right? And I would have got I could have got business. And even now you could still get business that way. But now with technology, with social media, with AI, with all these different opportunities, if you don't have some sort of hook that's going to draw in who you actually can help, you're not really going to make any sort of traction, because it's not going to be strong enough. It's not going to cut through all the noise that's actually out there, because if somebody wants to find really specific niche solutions, they're out there, right? And AI can even create those for people as well. And so if you just go in with some vague messaging and vague offer and vague idea, people are going to tell that you can't actually solve the problem, right? But when I talk to an investor like Ryan, or someone that wholesales properties, which Ryan does as well, and I have a conversation with them and I talk to them about the specific process that I have, the specific, KPIs that I have, which is basically just how we measure success for the system, and I really have a conversation with him, he's going to see that I really know what I'm saying, and the math makes sense for everything that I'm actually offering. And so if you just go in with a general offer and you're just trying to sell GoHighLevel with software and think someone's going to go in there and build their own system, you're in for a ride, because that's not quite how it actually works. If you want to do that, you might as well just be a GoHighLevel affiliate where you just promote to other digital marketers. But if you want to actually provide this to businesses that need some sort of service, you're going to need to have, at least initially, right, some sort, and it doesn't mean that you're defined by being a specialist in that way, or that you're locked in to only doing that forever. It just means if you're intending on charging this much or more for a service per month, your offer, your site, your messaging around that specific thing needs to be specific, or you're just going to lose people and you're going to miss the mark on it, right? And it's very easy to see this. Just look at how you purchase things. If you're looking for a specific, piece of equipment, right, or whatever it may be, it's not personal that you're not going to just choose maybe the general one. You need a specific piece of equipment to match the existing equipment that you have, right? It's not like you don't want to do it because of any other reason, just in like, hey, I want to know that what I'm getting is going to work for what I already have. And it's the same thing for these customers. It's like they want to hear that I have ran ads in their area before, and I've gotten deals in their area, and I have clients that have the same problems that they have, right? Once you create that, feedback loop, then everything gets really easy. And it all starts with this, because you don't want to just have, like I said, just a niche. You need to have a real specific one, and then it needs to have these elements. And then from here, you come in and say, hey, look, I'm the expert on this particular thing, right? Now, moving into the third thing is we have to understand what these high ticket clients value. So in my experience, these high ticket clients value done for you work with low touch, meaning they don't want a lot of back and forth communication. They don't want to be bothered to go in there and do things themselves, right? If we're going to charge this much or more per month, we have to understand the vibe that these people want. They don't want to be going back and forth and giving a bunch of feedback. Some clients may want to be more involved than others, but in my experience, they're paying for done for you because they want it done for them, right? And so you have to understand which is why a high ticket can be so advantageous, is that, versus a lower ticket thing. If you know what you're really doing, you know who you're serving, you know how to deliver the actual, solution to them, then being able to deliver a very low touch automated type of service gets really easy, because you're like, cool, all they care about, which all my clients care about, is, are they getting qualified appointments with people that need their help? Like, if I'm delivering that at the cost, costs that we agreed on and stuff like that, then they're basically good. They're not going to be bugging me about going and doing this and going and doing that. And I set the expectation clearly up front. I'm not doing anything outside of these things, which goes into the actual offer. So when you have those first three things understood, then we need to create a results-based, measurable, and quantifiable offer. Because what starts to happen is, if you just start making offers like, dude, I'm going to put my heart and soul into helping you out, and I'll go to the end of the earth to make this work, people don't know what that means, right? And although you may have the spirit to make it work, you're going to find that this is one of these levers that, if you really have this in place, this is going to help you dramatically. Because I've had unclear offers with the right people and never made sales. And then I've had times where I've had just a better offer and didn't even say it perfectly or sound as good or whatever, and the offer just made sense because it was clear, and it gave me all the leverage in the world. And so what I'd recommend, if you're going to go the route of charging, a higher ticket, and $1,000 a month or more really isn't high ticket. I mean, you go look around, people charge 10K, 20K for programs, masterminds, stuff like that. And your clients, if they're good at what they do, they're probably in masterminds with other businesses like theirs, and they'll pay 50 grand, 100 grand for those. Okay. But the point is, if we just have a results-based offer that's measurable, quantifiable, and it's clear, it's going to be easier, because you don't have to let the offer do the work for you. Okay. And so, without getting into this entire creation of the offer, I have this cheat sheet from another video, and this was doing a pay per qualified appointment offer. This was a very in-depth video, actually. But to kind of summarize what's in that video, you just want to define, if you're going to do what I'm doing, which is you're essentially providing a service to clients, and the service is a number of qualified appointments. That's the most simple way I can explain it. That's the offer. And then how you deliver it, or how I deliver it, is through ads and automation, right? But to create this offer and do it, just to have all the components you need, you want to define what the actual what a lead is. Okay. Because if I think a lead is somebody who opted into my website, and you think a lead is somebody who shows up in your store, we're not on the same page. So you need to define what this is and make sure you're on the same page with the actual client. If you just do this, if you can just get somebody on the phone and do this one thing, you're almost 90% of the way there. Most people think sales is about being, grandiose and having all this pizzazz and whatever, just saying stuff and being fast and being quick and handling all these objections. And then they miss the most basic stuff, which is before I even tell you what we do or figure out if this makes sense, the basis of the offer is a number of leads delivered to you on a certain time frame at a certain cost. So before I even get into what that stuff looks like, can we get on the same page about what a lead is to you, right? This is what a lead is to us. I'd love to hear if this is what it is for you, or if there's things we should add or take away, right? And obviously you can, split an inch into a million pieces, right? But you should be able to go a few layers deep to where you know what they want, and you can deliver it. And from there, now you can move on into the next part of the offer, which is how many you're going to generate for them in that month, what the time frame is to deliver it, how much it should cost, expectations, like what you're going to do, what they're going to do. Maybe there's conditions, like if you don't get them those number of leads in a certain time frame, you know, you give them the next 5 leads free, or you extend their billing, or maybe if they don't hold up their end of the, you know, what they're supposed to be doing, you may have a condition for that, right? And then you want to just be clear about when you're going to get communication from them, or excuse me, when they can get communication from you. Like maybe you respond, you know, in 2 to 4 days, right? Or maybe you respond the same day, right? It's all up to you. But without even getting into all the elements of an offer and all that, it's like if you literally know that you've checked this box off, and then you know that you're positioning yourself as this, you got this, you know, you understand, okay, I need to do this for them. I'm not going in there and, you know, causing a mess and getting them all involved. And then we're clear on how they want, you know, what is a lead to them. And then you get that far, you're literally, like I said, almost there. All right. So that's number 4. Now, number 5 is you want to price high ticket from the start, okay? So I've never had a client that I've discounted a service for or charged a low amount for my services for, and then had them upgrade to like a normal fee. So I've never said, hey, I'll do this for you for $500 a month, but in 30 days it's going to be $1,000 a month. I've never had that happen. It's not to say it won't happen. And I have had people that buy lower ticket products from me and then pay for higher ticket services. Okay. So it doesn't mean you can't have a lower ticket thing. It just means that in my personal experience, I've never had someone say, hey, your thing's $1,000 a month. I'd rather pay 500 and then go to the normal fee. I just, in my experience, the high ticket clients are willing to just pay what the price is. Okay. It doesn't mean just price it in a sense where like you're not going to get any sort of momentum, but you should stay in that price point that is actually high enough where you can be profitable and deliver the type of service I'm talking about. But ideally in a sweet spot too, where it's not like needs to take them weeks to figure out if they can do it. Okay. And in addition to this, if you follow, you know, the model that I have with, you know, GoHighLevel, UpHex, and just a templated productized service, then I always separate the SaaS from service. So to keep this super simple, you know, I just had a client the other day who had, you know, been paying for done-for-you services for quite some time. He decided to just keep the software, which has all his leads in there, and potentially run his ads himself. So long story short, he went from one of my offers that's $1,100 a month down to a $297 per month offer. And why is that the case? Because I always separated the software from the service and the work, right? And so he essentially is now able to keep all the stuff. We keep our relationship. He keeps the leads. He keeps the conversations. He can run his own ads. He can save that extra $800 he'd pay to me to learn the ads, right? And use that towards his budget. But yet I still get to provide the software and benefit from that, right? So when you start with these high ticket things, and if you do, and like I said, I don't even think 1,000 is high ticket. I think if you do 800, like what I'm doing for just the service, I think that's, you know, higher than just $200-$300, but it's not high like 2,500 where it's like, dang, I got to pay this every month. And keep in mind, 2,500 a month may be a bargain for someone. It may be too cheap, right? It just depends who you're marketing to, what you're providing, and you know, what it's worth to solve some of these problems. But I like to be a little bit more common sense, where it's like, you know, $2,500 is a lot of money. Just common sense. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or not. It's just $2,500 is a lot, right? So I'm more on the common sense side of just, hey, $300, that's not a cheap software, right? Like you go and you're looking at signing up for a software, $300 a month is not cheap, right? But if they get more intimate support from me, if they know who I am, if there's added value, they're saving money from other softwares, it's more reasonable, right? Same with the service. If I say, hey, you know, my service is $800, $1,000 a month, you know, you want to pay a part-time assistant or something in another area, you know, and a virtual assistant, you're going to pay $600, $800, $1,000 a month, right? If you have an agency do it. So, you know, $1,000 a month, 800, it's not like most people can do that for a few months, right? Can they do 800 forever, or will they want to do it forever? It's going to change, right? But it's all based on, like I said, who you're marketing to and what it's worth for them to solve the problem, and a little bit of common sense. Because like I said, you could say, well, $5,000 a month is a deal. It just depends what you're doing. But even then, it's still $5,000, right? Okay, so separating your SaaS from your service is key, and this is kind of how you can get a blend of both the higher ticket services, but then downgrade them if they just want to pause. And you can even tell people too, up front, hey, like this is what the service is. I'd recommend doing this for like 3 to 6 months, and then just pausing the ads and just like using the software unless everything's just going absolutely amazing. Then, I want to be realistic with you and tell you that, sometimes it makes sense. Get a few hundred leads, pause it, work your leads, because like in the business that I work with, some of these deals take 30, 45 days for them to make their money, even more, 60 days, 90 days. We've had deals take, 5 months. So knowing who your customer is and being realistic with them and saying, look, like I'm going to provide this service. What I'd recommend is let's run this until we get the first 100, 250 leads. That way you're already getting appointments, you're talking to people, there's deals working. Then you can just use the software to keep everything going. And then if you want to start back up, no problem, right? But the old school agency was kind of like, you always have to run ads forever. And if you don't, goodbye, right? And I pretty much used to do that. But now that I have this, like I said, I just had that client who had been, I've been providing services for like over a year, and he's got a bunch of leads. Sometimes the business slows down, there's competition, there's stuff that happens, and it's just like, cool, like keep running the ads. You can just use that extra money to run ads to get more leads, and then you keep everything going. And if you want me to, optimize the ads for you or do anything else, then we could turn that back on. So price high ticket from the start if you want to get people to pay you what it's worth, and then you can easily just downgrade them into what just the software. And you can also do this in the form of like a setup fee, $1,000 setup fee, and then the software, right? I just choose to do it with the service because the service kind of adds fuel, right? Like getting them leads, getting conversations in their system, getting the whole thing going. That adds more value than just setting something up, right? Because the setup doesn't have any life to it versus if they're getting texted and emailed, hey, you got a new lead, that's going to glue them to the service or the software longer, in my opinion, than just setting it up for them, okay? So 6 is build social proof or case studies. So when you have all of these things tied together, it becomes easier because you know exactly what your case studies are about. And if you go to this website, so this is my SaaS offer that I was talking about. And if you look at these testimonials, you'll notice, even if you don't know what this industry is or how it works, all this stuff to like somebody who is thinking about this service, it all like these case studies all make sense to them, right? Because it's the same type of case study. And this takes a bunch of time to do all this, right? You don't need to do all this immediately, but when you really have your niche, like this gives me a lot of leverage because I can just say, look at all, this is maybe, 40% of case studies, right? That I actually have. And these are all verified closed deals. Like, look at this, $380,000 for this client. This is $55,000. This is $32,000. This one's $9,000, $260,000, right? So high ticket client, I can charge high ticket, right? Then all these case studies start stacking and they're like, cool, let's sign up. So that's another thing you want to do. Now, what I recommend when you're starting is to always have your brand and your presentation in mind when you're doing your outreach. Now, what I recommend when you're starting out is to do video outreach to your ideal client. So doing a Loom like this, how I have a Loom, and I go to their website, introduce myself, take 2 minutes out of my day to actually reach out and tell them I want to help them with my offer, right? This is what I do. This is what I did to build up my first few clients. And then from there, it all just grew through referrals, case studies, and more scalable methods like content, which I'll talk about. But I would do this because I see people getting lost in these freaking automated scraping softwares and trying to mass email thousands of people. And anytime I hear about it, it just seems like people are trying to troubleshoot the software that they're trying to use. So my suggestion is you can go to Fiverr. I have a guy who you can pay, $20-$30 to go to high quality, like real people's websites, get their email them a video. I mean, the open rate, the response rate, the quality, it just skyrockets. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but and test it yourself. Try one of those automated softwares that does it all for you, and then just try getting a list, old school list, clean list, real website, real business. Send them a video, show them what you do, tell them how you want to help, and just see if they're open to a quick call, right? To me, it's no easier than that, right? So that's what I would do for that. Now, the other thing too is if you want to actually build this type of a system where you can keep getting these clients, don't like start taking on clients that don't represent your brand. All right. So if you're trying to niche down, get high ticket clients, and then you go and take a client out of your niche because you need income, just know you're sacrificing the feedback loop of getting this thing set up correctly. And if you don't know how to properly qualify your leads, so you don't know if they have the right systems in place, they don't have the right budget or experience level, then you're just going to deal with refunds and people chasing you down and stuff like that. So you want to make sure the people you're qualifying will actually get success with the system. And then lastly, when you have all this stuff working for you, the main leverage here is using content to attract leads. Now, if you go and look this up, so if somebody looks up on Google motivated seller Facebook leads, you'll see all these ads here, and then you'll see, my videos here. And so here's one video, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, so 14, all these case studies, right? Another one. I don't even know if that one's me. But the point is that, when you have all of this stuff working for you correctly, then you use content, like content I'm making right here. This obviously isn't for investors, but this is, you feel like you're cheating. You just feel like you're cheating because it doesn't take a lot of time because you're solving the same problem. When you really understand the snapshots, how all this stuff works with the actual technical elements too, it's fast to deliver, it's easy to manage, easy to troubleshoot, easy to manage communication with the client. You know that their ticket price for when they get a client is high. So you get one client, a lead that turns into a customer, and they make $25,000. Like that pays for your whole year. Now, they're not going to just stay for a year just for one deal, but at least hey, we could work together for 2-3 months and you get one deal and you're going to make money, right? So when you have all this stuff working for you and then you start educating the potential customers for these types of services you have, if you go look at these videos, these don't even have a lot of views. This one doesn't show, but you can get 500 views on a video, but if it's to the right type of business, you can make a lot of actual client sales from it. So hopefully this helps you guys with getting your first client or next client to pay you $1,000 or more. This is everything I wish I knew when I started. And if you want more detail on like setting this stuff up and the systems I actually use for delivering this type of service to client, there's a link below. You can either join it through my school group, or you can partner with me on GoHighLevel with a free trial. And by using my particular GoHighLevel link, you get access to that. So you can do it one of two ways: either just join directly, or get a free trial with GoHighLevel, and that'll grant you access as well. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.